Well, welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not real sure about that version of the song that I was trying to play, but whatever. These guys wouldn't be quiet anyway, and I can't just have music without those guys, so forget about it. It's Free Ballin' Friday after all, ladies and gentlemen.
Free Ballin' Friday.
It's fun.
And I don't know who was just doing.
That was me.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't.
I'm not used to you, Bob.
I couldn't hold it back.
He's like the kid you put in the corner. Bobby,
right.
Stay there, be still.
Sister Baptiste would make me stand in the garbage can in the paper basket, they called it back then.
Yeah, I'm not used to you being on the show, Bob. So,
How many years has it been, Stephen?
Man. Probably 5.
Yeah, easy. But it's wonderful to be back in the cave too, and seeing Mump and meeting Eric and good stuff.
Thank you very much. We very much appreciate that. Bob, how you been, man? You do your Sunday concert series. I love it. You know that I tune in most Sundays when you do it. Sometimes you take a Sunday off here and there.
Yep.
And you got to do what you got to do. But I get a big kick out of it. I love it. You always say hi, which you don't have to. But you and Joel Karenbauer, man, you're the mainstays online.
Joel's amazing. He has never missed a week. He's on every Wednesday evening. No, we're doing just fine. I take weeks off because I don't have a charity to play for. I did play for myself last Sunday night. My wife said, "Why don't you just play for tips?" I'm like, okay. So we did, and we did quite nicely, I must say. But no, we've raised about $15,000 this year for charities around this area, and one international charity and one Southern West Virginia charity. So it's my pleasure. Hell,
cool.
I play in my living room every night.
Yep.
So to play online and to make money for very, very worthy causes is unbelievably positive and makes me feel wonderful. And I get to play music, and I get to hang out with my wife, which is even cooler. Awesome. Usually she's painting and I'm playing guitar, or, I'm cooking, or So it's a pleasure. Thank you for asking.
Very cool. And Mump, we miss his 19th hole shows.
All of them. I mean, what he's been doing with this pandemic stuff going down, raising money for all kinds of folks, the cold weather center and stuff like that. And man, it's just I love tuning into you. I do.
Thanks, man.
And now from your living room,
Yes.
I mean,
we move around to different rooms in the house. There are certain ones I won't play in, but
yeah.
We try to keep the venue a little different. But thank you for tuning in, you and Ida.
I remember. I think it was when their last outside ones. It was up there on the hill, Western. Where were we at? I walked in with a whiskey bottle.
Yeah, it was Roger Hort and I were playing by ourselves in an empty room up at the.
Yeah, and your son was there. Yeah,
Wild West.
David was up there. Yeah.
Yes, that was fun, and thank you. That was quite a bit of change in that big bottle we brought.
Hey, the Crown Royal bottle holds a lot of quarters.
Roger and I split it, and it was.
That was cool. That was cool.
I paid for a couple of lunches. Appreciate it. But we get to play together. Playing with Roger Hort, I'll play with Roger Hort in an alley. Yeah.
Well, and you know what? I think you'll be very successful up at the Char House too when they can open up the outside.
I would love that, and I actually did contact the good people up there, and it was just at the time when Big F and Jim decided that there shouldn't be any music. So they said when we can go back to music, and Roger gave me a good. He kind of kicked them a little bit and said, "You got to hire this guy." Awesome. So and he's my brother, but anyway, I'm happy. I'd love to go to the Char House. That'd be great. Yep. There are places around. I'm going to be playing May the 15th. I just got my very first gig for the year 2021 at the Belmont Brew Works over in Martins Ferry.
Cool.
So that'll be on May 15th, 6 to 9. If I can get both my vaccines in me, and things continue to improve, and the numbers seem to be improving now. The data looks really good.
So, Bob, DeWine is allowing for vocals?
No. not at the moment.
Okay. The reason I asked that, Bob, is because today, Big Jim,
I heard.
Yeah, he goes, and I know I said it earlier, but I'm going to say it again. Yeah, we are absolutely, well, wait a minute, I got to get my Big Jim.
Got to get Big Jim, that's right.
We are absolutely going to remove the prohibition on live music unless there are vocals and woodwind instruments. And I'm just like, you just cut you-know-what off of John Banco.
There's a lot of spit in a trumpet, too. I just thought I'd throw that out there. But
right?
I mean, the poor woodwind guys are like, wait a minute, what about...
But what's your reaction? What's your reaction to, today's eased restrictions on live music? Businesses are, 50 to 75% gatherings
That's
are
good.
from 50 to 75 people.
Beautiful.
I love it too, and I'm looking forward to it. But, what's your opinion solely on what he did today for live music and what you hope he'll do in the future?
I see today as step one, and I like that step. In other words, he has opened the door for live performance inside of restaurants and, other places, like theaters, for example. I like that. The fact that he also was taking the advice, obviously, of his medical people that said, wait a minute, when somebody sings, they expel expectorant, and that is
Expectorant.
Yeah, that is in the air, and that is how this coronavirus is spread through the air. So we can't allow for singing or, I guess, musical instruments that require spittle. I don't know, but at the end of the day, I appreciated the fact that he opened the door. I think it's okay that he said you can't have singers in the house, but that's step one. I see in a couple of weeks when the numbers continue to drop that we will see by the warm weather months, God willing, May or so, that they'll say, look, you can do outside concerts.
Okay, now I love your optimism, Bob, but don't you think the numbers are going down, especially now because of the weather?
No. I think the numbers are going down for several reasons. I think America is getting a little smarter when it comes to being out in public.
And less stubborn?
Well, we're always stubborn, how we're Americans. But we're understanding from people who we're finally beginning to trust that if you wear a mask at Kroger, and you stay away from people, you're less likely to pick up COVID-19. If you stay away from crowds, we're getting it. So as a result, I think that's part of the data that's dropping. I also think, the cold weather months keeps us indoors, and that's another thing, keeps us from being together. So there's a lot of reasons, and I think the vaccines are starting to make their mark, and that's the other thing. And as much as I know the anti-vaxxers are out there, I know people don't want to take the shot because they don't trust the science, etc. I would suggest you look at the science, and the science is real and it's working. So that's all combination of why the numbers are coming down all across the nation. I look at them every day. I used to put up, I don't know if you watch my page,
of course.
but I used to put up the numbers every day just to show people, look, we're not talking about the flu here. We're talking about something that's killing thousands of our citizens every day. Please be aware of that and take normal precautions. That's all. I put a seatbelt on when I get in my car. I do it to protect myself. I don't do it so the guy won't pull me over and give me a ticket. I put it on because it protects me if something bad happens. I do the same thing with the mask, and it also helps others.
Okay, now let me ask you this: as far as the singing and the woodwind instruments,
yes,
why is plexiglass good at the bank and at the grocery store, but not to put up in front of a vocalist or somebody playing a saxophone?
I think that'd be fine. I think that would be perfect move.
You want to use the scientific terms. I'm just going to say it. The plexiglass will stop the spit.
Yep.
When the pandemic was going on, they were still having live entertainment up at the Char House.
Mm-hmm.
They had comedy night. Comedians were up there, and they had the plexiglass, in front of them with the microphone. They were fine.
In the mic, Mom.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So, they were able to have a plexiglass in front of the comedian, and they were still able to do some comedy shows. Now, of course, that got stopped. But as you would say, Big Jim.
Big effort, Jim.
Yeah, he's and it's 50 50% is moving up to 75%.
Correct.
Not 75 people. And then
No, public gatherings are
yeah.
from 50 to 75 people.
okay, but the restaurants
Occupants are 50% to 75% occupancy.
And he's saying he's thinking in the next couple of, he said a few weeks, that there might be able to, the bars and restaurants can go to 100%.
Well, and keeping in mind, we should still wear our masks in the restaurants. We should still wear our mask at the public gatherings if you're going to a wedding or a reception or a party. Please, it's not that tough.
And for God's sakes, guys, when you're at the urinal with the mask on and you leave, wash your hands.
Yeah, do something.
Right.
Do something right.
Here's the thing, too, about the mask.
I've seen it.
I know, man.
At this time of year, a mask isn't a bad idea because it keeps your face warm.
Right. I love the mask right now, man.
Right? No, listen, I wear the mask. I do. I'm not taking COVID to my parents' house, and
Correct.
And that's why I'm so excited. Both of them are vaccinated twice again.
Great.
We've got 2 weeks for them to take hold. Truly.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm going to start going to a bar again. I mean,
No, man,
I'm just not.
This stuff comes in your house. I mean, I've got some neighbors that I love, just two houses down, and they're in their 70s, and they got their first shot yesterday.
Good.
So it's a good thing.
I think it's lovely. And it's so different, and it's changed our lifestyles, and yet when you can't go to the funeral home when a friend dies, that just like today.
I hated that.
Frank Petranton had his viewing today. I can't go there.
Right.
I loved Frank Petranton. I did. Sister Christine Riley, John DeStefano. I go down the list. I've lost 4 very, very close friends in the last 8 weeks.
Yep.
To that in the Upper Ohio Valley, in our little villages.
Right.
Well, and see, I think that also plays into people paying more attention and taking the precautions because
Yes.
during the first spike, I don't think many people knew the first 67-year-old to pass away from, associated with COVID.
Right.
Okay. And I don't think during the first spike, many people knew people who got COVID. Spike number 2, that number increased a lot. Spike number 3, I think we all know somebody who has either passed away.
Younger people that are healthcare providers
He announced
were
today
getting it and dying.
He announced
it's
today
a very serious
a
situation.
54-year-old and a 51-year-old.
Right.
That's my age.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, if I'm one of you two, holy cow, I may put a blanket over my face the whole time.
Listen, man, I got tiger blood, but I actually went to the funeral home last night. Mrs. Baker, 93 years old, and everybody practiced social distancing and wore a mask and whatnot. But it is very difficult. What's even worse in my mind, Bob, and tell me what you think, is it's one thing to go to a funeral home, but it's another when you have an elderly person in a care facility and you can't see them.
Visit them.
Oh, no, my mom had
Window
surgery.
visits. I mean,
My mom had surgery 3 months ago.
right.
Okay. Number one, Wheeling Hospital, and thank you for taking care of my mom. They only let the same person in. Okay, so my sister went first because she's the one with the crazy schedule up in Pittsburgh, and then on my day, she was able to come down and she asked me, "Hey, can I go ahead and go today to see Mom because next week I got to work every day?" And I'm like, "Go ahead." But then my mom told me, "Stephen, I have to get this done. I am in so much pain." So I've got to thank Dr. Mike Maroney. Okay, I called Mike. Mike's a good friend of mine. And I said, "Mike, this is something you do. The procedure that my mom needs is something you do as a radiologist." I said, "Is there any way you can go do it?" He goes, "Where is she?" I gave him the room number. He got it scheduled lickety split. She had it by 2:00 that afternoon. And then the next day by noon, they transferred her to Peterson. And I'm like, okay, surgery done. She's going to feel better. Mike's like, "Don't worry, your mom's going to be okay. The pain's going to start fading." My mom didn't believe that at first because she had 4 giant holes in her back. And so they get her over to Peterson, and Mike just continued to care for her. You know, I wasn't allowed to go see her,
Right.
but he was.
Right.
You know, so she was in Peterson, I think, a week and a half. She thought it was going to be a month, but it was only a week and a half because I told my mom, I said, you know, back in the day when a trainer or a coach would tell me to do something twice, I did it a third time. I said, so Mom, and I got her everything she needed. She got the hand weight, she got this and that. I said, just whatever they have you do, once they leave and you're back in your room, do it again. And she's like, okay, if I can, if it doesn't hurt so much. I said, Mom, that's the way to make the pain go away. You know, I mean, throughout the years, I've had everything wrong with me. You know, I have first name basis with the ortho. So she did that. She got out in a week and a half. I was damn proud of her.
Yep.
Damn proud of her.
Yeah.
For a woman of her age, absolutely, man.
Yeah. And then, you know, we got the physical therapist, occupational therapist over there. They worked her. And I said the same thing. I said, Mom, whatever that guy tells you to do it again after they leave.
Yep.
And for the first time, my mom went to Abby's to dinner with us last night.
Awesome.
Good.
There you go.
That's great.
And they love seeing her because, you know, my dad tortures that Angie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hardest part for some friends of mine, Stephen and Mumper, having a mom or dad in a long-term
Oh, it
care
was horrible.
facility
It was horrible.
and with dementia.
Yeah.
And the only way you can see your parent is on television,
Yeah.
on Zoom,
Or through a window.
and they don't know who you are anyway.
Right.
And
That's
they have
gotta be-
two nurses with them, and it crushes their hearts. And
And unfortunately, and I know this because of Right at Home, my work with Right at Home, it accelerated the dementia diseases. It did. I have a very good friend, Chris, whose mother was over in a nursing place in Belmont County, and she just went in January, and at that time, doctors like 5-6 years, she'll be fine. Just take care of her. Blah blah blah. She went in there, everything got cut off, and the poor lady passed away 4 months later.
Yeah. I think contact with your family and friends, it's part of the healing process. And if,
Absolutely.
you know, if that gets lost in,
Well, it's part of the routine, you know, only because, and again, I learned this from working with Right at Home. When somebody is suffering from a form of dementia like Alzheimer's, the schedule, the routine means everything.
Yeah.
I mean, everything. And they weren't able to keep that routine. You know, like the New York Times just had a story on Good Shepherd. Great story and a great facility. They do wonderful things there for people. But, you know, there were some ladies that have been in Good Shepherd for years, and they did their hair and they did their makeup because finally they were going to be able to see somebody other than their roommate.
right.
Right.
And, you know, if that doesn't hit home, you know, I mean, we take everything for granted in life, don't we? And being social is one of the things. Do you guys remember, and I cracked this joke Wednesday, but do you guys remember when we were so critical of kids staring in their phones nonstop? Look at us the last 11 months, all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, at my home, you know, Nikki's 12 years old and doing this virtual
Yeah.
school.
Right.
And you FaceTime on the Chromebooks that the kids have, and that's all they know.
Yeah.
That's all she has.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hard, man.
It's very hard. All right. Bob Gaudio is here. Scott Mumper is here. We're going to go ahead and take the bottom of the hour break. Only a couple of minutes. Just the stream's going to continue, so hang tight. We'll just be back in just a couple of minutes. I'm Steve Novotney. It is Steve Novotney Lives right here on Lead. Well, I guess that, again, is something that we're just going to have to figure out. Did you guys hear a little bit of something in your ears?
Yes.
Yes.
It's sort of like
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
We'll take care of it at 5:01. We'll take care of it at 5:01. All right. Bob Gaudio is here, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to talk politics. We're going to talk about Bob's job, too. And Scott Mumper, of course, a 27-year veteran of the American military, and he's protected presidents, Bob Gaudio. What do you think about that?
I think that the presidents need to be protected, and if I was president, I would welcome Scott Mumper as my protector. That's what I think. That's what I think.
I appreciate that, man.
And it was a fun ride. Mess too, right?
Yeah, it did. It was awesome, man.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd want him protecting me.
No, you don't realize when he's professional, you know him as a social being.
Never lost a one.
I'm telling you.
No, I've actually got him to be professional. I've seen him in action on lead. Before the pandemic, I started a series about Colby Brown.
Right.
Colby, for those of you who have not read at least one or all nine of the parts in that series, Colby, on his very first day at Marshall University as a sophomore, he's a promised scholarship guy, was an honor student at Marshall during his freshman year, went to 2 classes, went to the gym, made plans with a girl, and somehow ended up on I-64 after falling because the boy didn't jump. I'm so confident in that. After falling from an overpass, 109 feet. And that was on the first day of his sophomore year. So I got Mump involved because he's a master investigator in a human lie detector test. And so I've got to see him working very, very professionally. And we're not done yet, are we, Mump?
No, we got a lot to do there. There's a lot of unanswered questions, Steve, and I think that's the whole thing. Getting into Bob's world, as a defense attorney, very important part of the justice system, and he's seen it all. How many years, Bob?
25.
25 years, and he's worked every kind of type of case that have been gone across his desk. Mm-hmm. What was it? Your first day, you had 56 cases.
Right, 56 cases and 9 hearings.
Overwhelmed and underappreciated.
Wow, I had forgotten about that, Bob. Yeah. But then again, you haven't been allowed to do radio with me for a while. So.
That wants to come back. All the horror stories will come back. My boss said, you got 9 hearings today. There's your cases.
Yeah.
And he walked out because he had just as much work as I did.
What a great way to start a career.
Yeah.
Got to throw it in and sink or swim.
Well, you feel sorry for your clients for the first couple of months because you don't know what the blazes you're doing. And I had my first trial within 6 weeks of being a new lawyer. And
wow.
It was a 15-minute verdict.
Did you win?
Hell no. I went across the street when Brenda used to run the coffee shop across the street from the courthouse.
Yeah, the Court Cafe.
Yeah. I went to get a cup of coffee and somebody comes running in. I'm just ordering my coffee. Just, jury's back. I'm like, 15 minutes, guilty.
Oh, you can't win them all.
Great job, Bob.
The public defender. You're damn right. You can't win them all.
You can't win them all.
Yeah. When you win one, you go home and open that bottle of scotch.
Bob, are you able to reference the types of cases that you have right now, or is that totally not cool?
What do you mean reference?
Well, I want to ask you how bad the drug problem is.
Oh, no, yeah. If you would take the drug cases out of my file drawer, and I have myriad cases right now, probably 60 misdemeanors and pushing 30 felony cases in my file drawer. If you took 80% of those cases out, they would be based on drugs or alcohol or both.
Really? 80%?
80%. Easy.
Yeah.
And not just because they were selling, using, possessing, but also doing things in order to get the money to get the drug.
Right.
Robberies, burglaries,
yeah,
even domestic violence.
Right, domestic violence based upon their addictions.
And everything means something, ladies and gentlemen. If you have a pile of coins and that thing in between the two front seats, you're going to lose your window because they want that pile of coins.
In addiction, I know there are new terms for it, and I'm not a social worker.
Right.
I call it addiction. They call it substance abuse syndrome, I think, is what's being called now. But it is someone who is out of control of their behavior based upon the need for substance.
Yep.
The need, not the want, not get high,
Right.
not get drunk.
Right.
The absolute need to function, to be able to think straight, to be able to speak words. That's addiction, and if you took addiction out of my file drawers, I would have 20% of my cases.
All right, let's get to a little bit of politics since we have about 15 or so minutes.
Oh, good.
Let's
His second favorite subject.
let's start locally.
Okay.
And I know Scott Mumper, ladies and gentlemen, lives in Clearview, but he's in Wheeling a ton and pays attention to the city of Wheeling. Always has, always will. But locally, what are you thinking? I did a story this week on an update for the OVMC campus. A lot of progress being made over there. A lot of tenants being recruited. Some more memorandums are coming out of understanding. I should finish. And I'll let them announce that. That's not my job. One's with Bluefield State. The ball is in their court now. We'll see if that works out. A lot of comments, a lot of reads. You can still find that story on Lead News. It's leadnews.com. There's a plug. But they're also finding out some things about what the property owner didn't disclose. Like not putting chemicals in the boiler when they should have. Like getting notices from the DEP, not paying attention to them. Things like that. I know our city leaders are very sensitive about, that big acquisition. I was all for it. I think nobody else was going to pick it up unless somebody bought it for $15 off auction. And I think the city did their due diligence. I think they're doing a great job putting Kurt Zendy on that and Bill Lanham, the assistant city manager. Great decisions. Yeah. And I look for that place to be full, post-pandemic at some point. If not for the pandemic, I think they'd be way further down the road than they are today. But that's nobody's fault other than wherever COVID-19 came from. But we also had the big announcement about the Wheeling Pit building, the Wheeling Pit Lofts, 128 market rate 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. I think that's very, very good news. Yeah. I hope they can fill them because. Let's face it, we didn't see, and we still haven't seen much foot traffic from the Bory Lofts. No. But Bob, the Bory Lofts are tucked into that corner, so most of that foot traffic's probably going two streets down the street to great places like Market Vines, right, and Valley Cheese and Coleman's. Right,
and we still could use a full service, reasonably priced grocery store downtown, but
I agree with you.
You need the population. You need to have more folks, and if those apartments in the Wheeling Pit building fill up, you'll have that foot traffic.
Yep. But it's people first.
Right. You got to have people first.
The private sector follows.
Yeah, don't start. I mean, God bless the people that are starting new restaurants. Don't start new restaurants right now. Hang out for a minute. Let things settle down a little bit because you're not going to get a lot of traffic at first. Even though you're new, you got to be careful. I love Wheeling. I love downtown Wheeling. I think it's got so much potential. And yes, I think once the COVID starts to lift, we will see improvement. I hope they can entice people downtown. You've got to have decent digs, reasonable rents, and have services, things that are available to people, and places to park their car. There you go.
Yeah, now we just got a message. South Wheeling Grocery is closing March 1. Yeah. I interviewed Lisa. She's going back to China. It's not because it's not a viable location. Lisa Minder is just going back to China to reunite with her husband. Yes. Yeah. And that's going to take place in June. The location where the South Wheeling market is located has been a market for a lot of years. Yeah. The Knee House market, this market, that market. I've done a lot of research on it because I'm going to write about it. But I also interviewed Ross Stoltz. Of course, Ross and his kids, his wife, they own, I believe he told me, 11 local McDonald's. And forgive me if you guys disagree, but when McDonald's went away in '96, it was a gut punch.
Absolutely.
It was like, well, it's official. Downtown's dead. And I believe, and again, if you guys disagree, please say so. I believe a McDonald's in downtown Wheeling would be a benchmark business.
No question.
Yeah, it would be.
Yep.
There's no, I mean, if people can badmouth the food, it's, you know, middle of the road.
It's always consistent.
It's not hurting anybody.
Always.
You get you get a Big Mac in Elm Grove, and you get a Big Mac in Kentucky.
Yeah.
It's the same big.
It reminds me so much of how Elby's used to be.
Correct.
All 73 across the board, consistent.
Right. Yeah, and the Bories, did a great job with the Elby's chain. But
and other people saved them.
Yeah, well,
that's all I'll say about that.
End of the day, I think a McDonald's would be fantastic for downtown, even if it was on the other corner from Vagabond. I mean, as many places as you can serve people food they want for the price they need it. That's what you need when you have, you know, folks that are hungry. And when you get more people downtown, guess what? Those places will fill up. You know, Tony does fine with DeCarlo's in downtown Wheeling.
Yeah, and it's a one-story building.
Right.
Oh my!
I mean, yeah, and because of the product, people know it, they love it, they go. They'll mask and glove up and walk in and don't look at anybody, but they're going to get, by God, they're going to get their pizza.
Yeah.
So,
you know, you just made me hungry for DeCarlo's, but I can't eat it today.
Get you some cold cheese.
There you go.
I can't.
A piece of hot
I
bread.
can't eat it today. I made Eric Marple a patty melt before the show, and I couldn't eat one.
No.
I'm Catholic.
That's right. It's what, tuna, right?
Yeah.
I had egg salad today.
Okay. You don't eat fish even on Friday?
We're having fish tonight.
Okay, there you go. I was looking at Coleman's going by today. I was like, oh my God.
We had Coleman's on Wednesday.
Yeah, you almost had to know somebody to get a
To
sandwich.
get a deal.
today.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
Michelle's the brilliant one. All she does is call a couple out. Like when she left to go to work, she said, "Hey, I'm picking up the sandwiches at 5:05. I'll be home at 5:10," and she was.
There you go.
That's the way to go.
That's the woman to marry.
Yep.
Amen. Amen.
I missed her, man. I don't know if I'll see her or not. You have to.
You will. You will.
Okay, give her a hug for me.
No, you can give her.
Yeah, I'll just give her a fist bump.
Nah, she'll hug you. She's twice vaccinated, dude.
That's good, but I'm not. That's the thing. So I worry about me too, man. Giving it to somebody else. I don't know what's in there.
Yeah.
It's asymptomatic.
All right, scoot over.
But anyway,
Scoot over. Now
You
the
want Bob to get off my
streetscape.
lap? Is that what you're saying?
get off of his lap.
The streetscape is coming. You know, at the same time, we have eastbound of I-70 being done. You know, I know a lot of people think it's a nightmare. I think we give Swank Construction a ton of credit for phase one.
What they're doing, it's amazing and they're working in this weather, man.
Yeah. Yeah, the westbound turned out so
Really nice.
I mean, yeah, they're doing.
It
great.
makes you jealous, actually.
And I love our blue and green bridge. That's cool.
Oh, the multiracial,
I-
biracial bridge.
I wrote that story too.
I know.
Yeah, it's.
I do a little writing.
So they're gonna go gold, blue and gold in
That's
West
what he
Virginia.
wants. That's what he
Yeah.
wants.
Oh yeah.
That's
How
what
about
I
red-
want.
How about red, white, and blue?
No, it has to. It'll be all blue once they get the eastbound
And
done.
Ohio wants red and gray or whatever. the hell it is.
That's scarlet and gray.
I don't know what it is.
Never.
Give me an O, man.
Yeah. Oh wait.
You know, I watch Ohio State. I root for the Buckeyes, but for the life of me, I have no idea why they have to keep reminding each other how to spell
It's
the
so
name
fun.
of the state.
My buddy Brian Cowper, he's an Ohio State guy, and he'll go, "Hey, Mump, OH," and I go, "OH, uh-oh."
There's some rabid stuff going on there. You talk to real Ohio State fans.
Oh.
You do not want to. No, don't get into that conversation.
OH.
Oh man, it's like, they are so rabid. And if you make even a funny comment, something to make them laugh, they don't laugh.
No, they don't.
No, they're pretty serious
It's
about
kind of
that.
like a Steeler fan.
Like Dr. George's, do not make a joke about Ohio State to Dr. George's. Don't do it.
No, bad idea.
Absolutely not.
No, it's a religion. It's a religion.
He's got flags out the side of his, his SUV, and oh my gosh. But anyway, I love him, but lighten up. Man. It's a school.
I miss going down. I miss going down to WVU though. The blue lot parties before
Oh
the
yeah.
game.
Oh yeah.
My buddy Jimmy Raper, he just bought an RV. and it's been sitting in his garage.
Okay, well,
No games.
well, tell Jimmy I'm going.
Oh, definitely. I'll let him know.
So
Yeah.
RV, you'll fit.
It's a good time, man. You know, he's a very popular man because he has a bathroom in his RV.
Oh my God.
Oh, I'm sure.
Instead of doing the old porta johns in the mud.
Does
Yeah,
he?
man.
Does he have? You must sit down rule in
He
place.
does. He does. And yeah. And I'm pretty sure it's a women only bathroom.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you're tailgating, you have some place for the women to go to the restroom.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
He's a gentleman.
I'll tell you what.
Well, I mean, that's smart and that's the right thing to do because let's face it, it doesn't matter where we are.
Well, I've had some parking lot cases. You gotta, so keep that keep that in there.
It's just Bob. I've been
How do you defend that, Bob? I'm just curious.
Bob.
Depends on the size.
Oh,
Yes. I'm sorry.
The
Size of the RV.
yeah.
It's like I've been with him when this has had to happen. He kept twirling, and I'm like, "What are you doing? What are you doing, dude? Just stay toward the woods."
You're not a lawn sprinkler. Stop it.
Yeah, stop.
He said he felt bad for the parking lot.
I'm not impressed. Put it away. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
I think we've got
See, we're allowed to talk about stuff like that now because we're on podcast, right?
it's a beautiful
Pretty much, yeah.
pretty much.
That's cool.
Free
Yeah.
ball on Friday.
Hey, Erica Donahue, Steve Novotney, we're the owners.
That's it.
So
So you guys get taken away in handcuffs, just give me
I know a guy, by the way.
Give me a
Case number 58.
call.
actually, my first phone call would be Bob Cadio.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And I'd take it too.
Yeah.
I would absolutely take it, even though it's your name there. And
Hey,
I've had those calls on a Saturday morning. Believe me.
not for me.
No, not from Steve Novotny.
All right,
Never,
let's
ever,
just clarify.
ever.
I live in a basement, okay?
Yeah, this is a great basement too, by the way.
It is
folks.
cool.
If you've never been at Steve's basement,
Yeah.
it's outstanding.
When was this place built?
Before 1900. The deed says 1900, but I have maps from 1889 with this double brownstone in it.
There you go.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is the oldest the oldest studio in Wheeling history.
There you go.
You were saying that today. And
Well, all the other ones have been ripped apart.
yeah, there's nothing left.
I am going to call Guinness Book of Records.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're
Come
welcome.
in here.
Thank you very much.
It was photographed well.
State-wise politics or
Moving
the
on.
regular session. Bob, the Republicans have super majorities. They can do everything. They don't even have to worry about a veto from the governor's office.
Right.
It's their state.
It is, and they're taking advantage of that. I mean, they're smart enough not to go overboard. I think we'll see about that. But we've got between the two houses, you've got nearly 1,000 bills that have been introduced over the last 10 days.
Oh, yeah.
372 in the Senate and 625 bills introduced in the House. They passed 13 in the Senate and 18 in the House right now. Today, the Senate passed 2 bills that you may not even know about, Steve, because you were busy getting ready for the show. One talks about a reclassification of employees from being employees to being independent contractors. It redefines what an independent contractor is, and it allows an employer to decide whether or not he's going to pay the guy benefits and workers' comp and Social Security payments. Okay.
Is it in any particular industry?
No, it's pretty much across the board. It's a 30-some page bill, so I have to kind of get a little bit more of scrutiny. The other one was they're both ALEC bills. They're both bills that have been offered to them by the American Legislative Exchange Council. They send the bill and you kind of fill in the blanks. And this one is, the second one is creating a COVID-19 Jobs Protection Act, which actually what it does is it removes liability from an employer for any kind of COVID-19 problem that an employee might have coming back to work. So you can't sue your employer if he's being particularly lax in his protection of you as an employee. You can still get your workers' comp, but you can't sue them for being idiots.
Wow.
Okay, so that's the second one that passed the Senate today, and you'll be hearing noise about that.
Oh, sure.
But anyway, lots of bills being passed. We can go into different bills, but we don't have the time this evening.
No, we have 3 minutes.
But I would say, get on the legislative website. It's easy to find, West Virginia Legislature. And every bill that they've introduced is on there, and every bill that and they've passed a lot in 10 days, man. I mean,
Well, you know why I've talked to both senators and delegates?
right.
They're in hurry up mode right now in case they get shut down.
There you go. And, in 10 or 11 days they've been together, they've sent more bills back and forth to each other than they have in my memory.
Oh, I know. But that's why they're doing it, because they're afraid, because they're not bubbling.
Right.
There's, 134 of them, and then you have Jim Justice. They're going about it as quickly as possible, because if one lawmaker comes down with COVID,
shut it down.
They'll shut it down, or really change a whole lot.
Yeah. And I think, since there is a supermajority, they can do a lot of good.
Yeah.
As well as do a lot of bad.
Right.
And so it is our duty, I think, as citizens. We have people like Steve Novotney that keeps on top of people like that, things that go on down there. But as a common citizen, it's our duty, I think, to make sure that we are vigilant, particularly about what our representatives are doing down there.
Yep.
And making sure your voice is heard. I do all the time, and they're tired of listening to me. But I just want people to be taken care of. I think the general welfare needs to be served. And
Amen,
that's all
bro.
I say.
That's what you've been doing your entire life, man.
Right. So serve the general welfare. If you don't, I'm going to let you know why you didn't.
Yep. Yeah.
That's all.
I think it's fair.
Yeah, I think the state could be helped a lot.
Yep.
If the supermajority does what they're supposed to do. But those two bills today ain't doing it.
Yep.
So I'm just saying, it's just you gotta shake your head and make the phone calls and tell Senator Weld and Senator Ehlenfeld and Mrs. Storch and Mr. Fluharty what you feel.
Absolutely.
And we cover a lot more than that. So go down to Marshall County.
Right. I'm just saying from my standpoint.
Sure.
But yeah, there's of course everybody. If you go down the river, everybody's got different representatives. Call them. Call their offices. Tell them what you think. Leave voicemails and send them emails.
That does get their attention. It does. Yeah.
I mean, even guys, we're just watching the big TV here in Steve's room. Seeing Joe Manchin and Shelley Capito, and the folks that represent us. Call them. Let them know what you feel. Whether it makes any impact, maybe it doesn't. But at least you've done your duty as a citizen to say, look, here's why I think this bill shouldn't or should be passed.
It's really that simple, isn't it?
Yeah, and tell them why. And if they don't want to hear you, they'll send you the rote letter saying thank you for your consideration.
Yeah.
But at least you've done. And by God, please vote.
Yep.
Please vote.
Amen.
Yep.
And people don't. Yeah.
Hey, well, before we get off, what gigs do you have coming up? You got anything?
I have one gig
in the hopper. Okay.
May 14th.
Now, let me sell Sunday night. Sunday night on Facebook Live, we're playing and chatting for the Grand Theater restoration project in Steubenville, Ohio. The Grand Theater is old, 1885 it was built, and it is in disrepair. And they've been trying to build it. Volunteers have been trying to rebuild it over the years, and we're playing for them on Sunday night from 6 till 8. Scott Dressel was a city councilman in Steubenville and a good friend, and he asked me to do it. I'm like, you know what? I went to so many great movies at the Grand Theater in Steubenville growing up because I was a Fallensby boy across the river, and I'm happy to do that one. That's Sunday nights from 6 to 8 on Facebook Live. You can find it on RJ Gaudio /Troubadour. You can find it on Robert J. Gaudio Facebook page, or just look for the live events. May 15th is the only gig I have, and it's at Belmont Brew Works. Belmont Brew Works, May 15th, 6 to 9. And John Banco got it for me, and I love him. And Amanda Curry runs the place, and she's been looking forward to, because she used to bartend at the Later Alligator and listen to me warble. So it's going to be fun.
Let me ask you a question. Sure. I'm a member.
We're way out of time.
That's okay. Real quick, the Ohio Valley Street Survivors Car Club. We're trying to get some cruises and some car shows going on. Yeah. Would you be interested in maybe popping over there and doing a little gig? I'd
love to talk about it. I'd love to play outside.
Okay.
Good
cool
stuff. So thank you for that consideration. I'm happy to do it. Steve,
appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun. So good to see you physically alive and to meet Eric again and see Mump. And God bless you. I hope this podcast goes crazy and you get more and more sponsors, and you can't make enough money.
Yeah, because I share.
You got, well, I don't know whether you do or not. Thanks for asking me. I'm honored and happy, and now I'm going to go down and get my later alligator meal, and I'll be really happy then.
Very cool.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Mom.
Mom, thanks for co-hosting today. Appreciate it very, very much.
Yeah, man.
You know, free balling Friday.
Free ball on Friday.
So you got to be here next Friday.
All right, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you just take it wherever you take it.
Free ball on Friday.
There you go.
All right, brother.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us for today. Thank you so much for joining us. I do truly, truly appreciate it. Still working through a couple of tweaks here and there, but, you know, we're going to get it down, and it's going to be awesome. We'll be back on Monday, 3 to 5 p.m. Make sure you sign on to the Lead News Facebook page. And by the way, the podcasts, that'll be uploaded to Lead here in a little bit. And the video, I guess we're calling it a vlog, that's going to go on the Steve Novotney Lives YouTube channel. So make sure you become a subscriber of that. Everybody have a terrific weekend. Can't wait to talk to you again on Monday. But, you know, as I always say, God bless you, folks. We'll talk again.
Love one another.